all, welcome to Maui Mysteries, the channel that brings you interdimensional content, which means that the readings are from a broad and expanded point of view as they are channeled through vast dimensions of space and time and therefore should resonate with you guys whenever you come across them. So, yesterday in the reading, I mentioned a couple of different reasons in different situations for me being in spirituality, and someone emailed me and asked if I would speak on further on what were the reasons, because I mentioned how the reason changes for why you entered into spirituality throughout your journey. So they asked if I could mention the other reasons about why. So after the whole relationship thing not working out and me wanting to be, I wanted to understand myself more in that period. I wanted to understand why I had been so desperate for certain affections from this person and why I had stayed even though I was not receiving them. And also, I had wanted to be treated better by the person, but I didn't. I want to say I didn't know why I wanted that. Why did I think I deserved that? And I know you want to say, oh, because you're a human being. Every human being should be treated better. But it wasn't that. He wasn't mistreating me as a human being. I felt like he was mistreating me as me, which is weird, right? Because, girl, who are you? Which was the big question. Like, why did I feel that way? Who are you? Like, why? How else should he treat you? So there was that too. And like I said, Gnosticism is spirituality or getting closer to God through self-inquiry, through alchemical psychology, and through experience. So here was a spirituality that wasn't just saying to me, oh, go to church or ask God to fix it, they will fix it. This spirituality was saying to me, you have the means within yourself, within your energetic makeup, to figure this out. To be this person you now want to be, because now you're longing to be the sovereign person, to give out your affection, not because you want something in return, but because that's just a human thing to do, to feel things, to not depend on another person's affection for you. Like, and at the same time, to be able to connect with people who have the depth that you have, you as I in this situation. That's what I wanted. And Gnosticism, like I said, kind of gave me the tools to do that. And again, it's also the entity I was working with through Gnosticism, because to be honest, Gnosticism is not easy to study. It's so much information and it's so symbolically veiled that I don't think I would have been able to get anything from Gnosticism if it wasn't for the entity that I was working with at the time, that I now refer to as the Gnostic entity, because that's really all I know about the entity. They just really unraveled Gnosticism for me, like, properly. And then soon after I started to, okay, so also another thing I want to mention, I felt as though in relationships I tend to disappear into the other person. And again, that told me that it's because I didn't have a sense of self. When you are attracted to someone, you're mostly attracted to the best version of you being reflected through them back to you. And again, I would want to mesh into that version, but that's them. That's them. And I would want to mesh with this version. It's almost like I would want to embody this version. It's like, no, sweetheart, it's not a soul, it's a whole person. This person is their whole person. You cannot absorb them. You cannot absorb into them. And that's when I realized I was not grounded at all. I had no sense of self, because how did the wind just blow me into this? Like, I had no sense of, no, I'm my own person, they are their own person. I was always willing to, so that's also why I was like, God, help me. And at this time, I had already been, I was already in connection with my ancestors. But I didn't know how deep the connection could go. The relationship with my ancestors really revolved around like, um, I guess trying to feel grounded, trying to feel connected to something. I didn't yet know that actually these beings could help me with certain problems, but I actually did ask um, help at some point. And yeah, they helped me there too. I did ask for help, and that's when maybe I realized how this was an interactive relationship. And I would later realize how your relationship with nature, with the world, with the universe, this galaxy, this place, it's an interactive relationship. You can actually collaborate, communicate, exchange energy with everything in this realm. But okay, cool. Then through, so here I am, like, just like uh going through like these Gnosticism writings and stuff by Samael Amvior, if you've heard of him. That was the Gnostic hey, that was the Gnostic teacher, like a person who's actually been alive, who I followed like their model. And it's not perfect, but the models never are. And that's never the point, guys. You always take what works for you and you leave the rest. There's no time to be judging, oh, but this, bruh, I don't care. Like, I actually don't care. I come into a teaching and I take what resonates. What doesn't, I leave alone. I don't fight with like the teacher, and now I'm like, oh, they're not a true mystic because I don't agree with the fact that the clouds were green before Christ. Like, it's okay, then just don't believe it and move on. Take whatever else that works for you. So through those teachings, I was studying Gnosticism, and then I went for a reading. And when I went for the reading, I've told you guys this before. I think I was told that I need to make an offering of honey to an orisha. I had never heard the word orisha. And I had never given an offering to anything outside of my ancestors, which are within my bloodline, so I trust them. I could not imagine, like, putting out an offering for something I'd never heard of. I was like, this is how I get sucked in. Next thing I know, I'm gonna be laboring for the devil and the dark side. Hell no. I was like, no. And then they like the person I was consulting with kept asking me like, you don't know what an orisha is? This was years ago, you guys, in my 20s. You don't know what an orisha is? And I was like, no, I don't know what the fucking orisha is. Like, no. But I didn't tell them I wasn't gonna do it. Anyway, I got home and I was like, shit, I ain't doing that. What? No. And then something else happened and I ended up doing it. I didn't even know the name properly of, oh, I understand what happened. The Orisha actually connected with me. The Orisha actually connected with me, and then I made the offering because now I had something to actually be like, oh, okay, cool. And it wasn't a scary like interaction or anything like that. It was very gentle, it was very calm. So it was okay. It was so then I made the offering. And then so now I'm into spirituality. It's past the relationship, right? Of me wanting to be this better person in a relationship to me wanting to be a better person overall, because now we've got an orisha into it. So now the orisha is teaching me how to eat better, in order to be better suited for the connections that I make with entities and stuff like that. And also the changing of the mindset. Like, I will be thinking something and the Orisha will be like, no, not like this. Think of it more like this. Like, they would help me change my thought pattern in real time. You guys, I used to sit there with like notes and shit and just like lighting a candle and just like, yeah. And then after a while, my situation changed like dramatically. This is when my actual dark night of the soul began. And so the dark night of the soul is a war. If you've never been through it, it's a war. You're in the arena, you're a gladiator, if that's what's happening. If not, you're in a war. You're Arjuna. Closer to the end, Krishna will come and you guys will get to have that whole conversation, inshallah. Like, God willing, that's what will happen, and you will get through your dark night of the soul. But the dark night of the soul is ultimately a war. It's a war with the self, but the self wears many masks, the faces of other people, but ultimately that's what it is. So, in between this, spirituality became about, because now there was anger, there was rage. Spirituality became about surviving. It became about, I need to get my ass out of this, like, lowest moment of my life. And it became, I'm going to show them, I'm going to show all the people that hurt me and, like, didn't believe in me, that, like, they should have believed in me, they should have wanted me, they should have supported me, blah 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 blah. So spirituality became that. It became a form of vengeance. Like, this making myself a better version of myself became my vengeful act against everybody that hurt me and whatnot. um and at the same time, now spirituality was becoming, because I was learning this art of divination, which really is just, it's human nature, but on a deeper level. I suppose it's understanding human nature, but on an energetic level. So now I was being taught that, and now spirituality, I was also doing it because I wanted to learn this gift and I wanted to be really good at it. I wanted to be the best because I enjoyed it, because I was fascinated by human nature, because I really liked it. And then at some point, when I was now learning to do that, when the wound of the dark night of the soul was slowly, like, cooling down and soothing, and the whole vengeance is mine thing was also cooling. And then spirituality became about, how do I make abundance for myself? How do I formulate abundance for myself? I had transmuted all this lower vibrational energy into an experience of an experience that brings about clarity. And I finally had that sense of self that I wanted. I had grounded so much of my new thought patterns and new emotional patterns. And yeah, now my spirituality was about transmuting the experience into abundance. And part of that became starting this channel. Because the abundance is not just, oh, you do readings, people can book you for readings. It's also being able to speak about the things that I speak about on this channel. A lot of you will say to me, I don't have anybody to talk to about this. You're the only one that can talk about this. Yeah, me too. That's why I made this channel. That's why I made this channel, so that I would be able to speak to people about this journey and the different doors and dimensions and avenues that are within spirituality. And because of the journey that I went through, I obviously knew that obviously there's other people out there. There has to be. There has to be other people out there that have the same mindset or have the same energy within them, but they haven't put words to it yet. And obviously, I wanted to share with those people too. I wanted a community. I wanted to formulate a community. And that's still something that, like, it's in the making. Oof. I basically want, like, Okay, let me not go there. Anyway, let me pull some cards for y'all. Thank you for listening to my story. Um, I hope it does assist some of y'all. I know it's not exactly the story of my spiritual journey, but for now, it's what I can say. And it's not so much that the stuff in my journey is a secret. It's not a secret. It's stuff that I don't yet have words for. And I don't want to force the words because it will minimize the experience. I will be trying to give you a sense of something, but forcing words for it will give you so little of it that I might as well have just kept quiet. So, yeah. Um basically, you've got these cards, and honestly, ultimately, so you've got beauty, you've got success, and this one says rigid. And basically, how you're moving from this space of being made of stone, which basically speaks to like this part inside you that is dormant, basically, because the part of your mind that is running everything is obviously the part of your mind that's conditioned by the social construct, and that is your ego. And I say that kindly. Okay, we'll talk about the ego later, maybe next week. So I say that kindly, but you're moving out of that, of the rigidness of the ego. And it is the ego itself that begins to feel too tight in a certain space, and it wants more. The ego is Pinocchio wanting to be a real boy, like wanting to be a real person. Um, and the spiritual journey is what turns Pinocchio into a real person from this like wooden boy or this boy of stone or whatever. I keep saying boy because Pinocchio is a boy, but you'll obviously understand. I just mean like person. The spiritual journey is what, and that is how it brings you closer to God, because it turns you from this being that can just be programmed like in whatever way to yeah, it's actually kind of like this flower type of thing, because you become, you know how like when the sun rises and how the sunflowers act towards the sun, how they turn to face the sun, and it's giving that with you, how you recognized real warmth, real light, like real divinity, the godliness within yourself. And your ego is turning towards that godliness. It's drawn to that godliness within you. And this can also speak to a connection yako nenzunza, how you are so called to this aspect of yourself that represents like your oversoul or your higher self. And how that warmth from that sun, that support, that encouragement from God, sending through your ancestors, sending through entities to give you the support in the form of knowledge, in the form of experiences, in the form of meeting certain people, so that you can fulfill your becoming. Cool, that's what I have for you guys. I hope that was just like a nice Friday afternoon thing. Um, yeah, this I get so awkward when I have spoken about myself because I feel exposed. But I thought it was fair because I be in you guys, like I be all up in y'all's business. So I thought it was fair that there should be some kind of an exchange. Like, yeah, that's what I have for you guys. If you want to book a mentorship session or a reading, all that information is in the description box. Otherwise, thank you guys for being you and showing up for us. Yeah, later. Have a good weekend. See you next week.